Hello everybody, the Law Gnome is here.
Talk.
So here we are, everybody. We've reached the tipping point. The DCEU could possibly be on its very last leg. Because after a success in the box office this summer with Wonder Woman, but before that, some mixed bag reviews on all the other films in this universe that have come before it, we now officially have a film that a lot of DC fans have been waiting for to see in a live-action film for almost half a century. And that, of course, is the uniting of some of the biggest names in DC Comics of all time to take down the forces of evil, and that, of course, is Zack Snyder's Justice League, starring Henry Cavill, Ben Affleck, Gal Gadot, and newcomers to the DCEU, Jason Momoa, Ray Fisher, and Ezra Miller. So, guys, you know that I have been a very big supporter of Zack Snyder and his vision. I was not someone who crapped on Suicide Squad, and I had a really great time with Wonder Woman, because I was such a fan of the fact that these DC movies were trying to be everything that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is not. And you also know that over the past couple of months, when new Marvel films were coming out in theaters, I was enjoying those films, but I didn't have the greatest of things to say because I felt that they were just not giving me what a comic book fan really, really wanted. But Justice League came out. The reviews were not as vibrant as Wonder Woman's were, and now it seems that a lot of people are losing hope on this brand new cinematic universe that is trying to compete and surpass Marvel. Well, it's not a bad movie. As a matter of fact, it is far from being a bad movie. It's a fun, enjoyable, exciting film that gives you a old-fashioned good time in the theaters. But is it a great film? It is far from perfect, everybody. There's so many reasons to find the problems, to find the faults, and I'm going to get to all of that. But I do want everybody to know that this is not what the critics are calling it. First of all, we've got the characters. There are so many ways to get behind these characters. While some of them, yes, we don't know all of their backstory yet, but as DC fans of the comics, you know all of these guys' origin stories. You know about the Flash, you know about Aquaman, you know about Cyborg. And that's one of the few things that I like about Zack Snyder's vision. He's not trying to tell the story over again. He's trying to just give you the characters that you already know and love, and if you want to know more about them, then just go read a couple of comics or go see a couple of old movies. The acting from each and every one of these characters is great. They work well off of each other. They get just enough screen time for you to enjoy and see what these characters are all about. Each actor is absolutely wonderful in each and every one of their performances because they're all very, very unique. I personally feel that we could have gotten a little more from Aquaman, but we've got a whole Aquaman movie coming out next winter, which of course I'm still very excited for and hopeful for. I thought that Ezra Miller playing Barry Allen was great. I thought that he was funny. I thought that he was charismatic. I thought that the lines, whether they were cheesy or whether they were just truly ingeniously funny, and even some of his serious moments were really, really good. He reminded me a lot of Michael Rosenbaum's Flash in Justice League. So if you are a Justice League animated series fan, you will definitely see a lot of that classic Flash's mannerisms. Ben Affleck was great. I thought that the character that he had originally given to us, while he wasn't as dark and brooding as he was in this one, I liked the fact that because of the fact that he was gathering all of these heroes together to fight the forces of evil, there was a little bit more of a spring in his step. He actually remembered what it was like to be a superhero, even though he was hated by most, what it was like to be loved by others. And you see him work off of these characters very well. Ray Fisher I thought was fantastic as Cyborg because he was a brooding character who knows that he is never going to be a normal person again, and he's just trying to cope with living with these new powers that he's recently gotten. Gal Gadot, loved her. I thought that she was great. I loved her action sequences, and she worked off of everybody well. And of course, Henry Cavill, yes, He is in this movie. Superman is in this movie. It's impossible to not even think that he's in this movie, especially if you see the S logo on the poster. And he gave us that great Superman that I think a lot of us were really wanting to see. Now, granted, I did like the Superman that we already got in Zack Snyder's universe, but the fact that he was actually a more positive Superman, like everybody remembers him to be, but still keeps a lot of the Zack Snyder mannerisms in regards to fighting the forces of evil, a very positive thing. The story is not extremely convoluted. It's very easy to follow. It basically involves exactly what I thought this Justice League movie was going to be. A villain that one of them cannot take down, but when the entire group of them gathers as a team, they're going to take him down. And the villain in this film is Steppenwolf, who happens to be the minion of Darkseid. And honestly, a lot of people don't like him because they say he's a CGI mess, they say that he really doesn't have much depth, etc. Honestly, what we got from Steppenwolf is exactly what I thought we were going to get from Steppenwolf. I'll go back to Bruce Timm's Superman the Animated Series. Steppenwolf is in one of those episodes, and he really isn't an expanded upon character. His job was to just go to planet Earth and send out a warning and maybe do a little conquering. Because we know who Steppenwolf is, us comic book faithful. We know exactly who his boss is, and we know what he is trying to do because we know what is coming in the next couple of films. The score from Danny Elfman. Would I have liked to see Hans Zimmer's score? Absolutely. But Danny Elfman did an unbelievable job with this score because not only did it give us some new pieces, we got the 1989 Batman film score peppered in there, a little bit of John Williams' Superman. We also got Hans Zimmer's Wonder Woman score called Is She With You? So we got all of our favorite DC orchestral pieces in this film, and the fact that they were all brought together is something that made me feel really happy, because in my Batman v Superman review, I said that if you want to see what all of these heroes are about, go watch these old movies. Well, the score pretty much says, yeah, go watch those old movies, because those movies have somewhat of a connection to this one. The action is fun, the action is exciting, even though it's got a lot of heavy CGI, it still gets the job done. But, as I said, this movie is far from perfect, and the reason why I feel that it's far from perfect is because I don't think we got the full picture. Now, just in case you guys didn't know, Joss Whedon actually took over the director's position because Zack Snyder and his wife unfortunately lost their daughter to suicide in the middle of filming and production. So Joss Whedon came in, and you definitely see the things that were actually changed in there for the sake of Joss Whedon doing his Joss Whedon thing. Not a great thing, but not a bad thing either. But I know for a solid fact that there is much more of this movie that didn't make the cut, and I am waiting for a Zack Snyder ultimate cut, because that's pretty much what you get whenever you see a movie directed by Zack Snyder, at least when it comes to his comic book films. There's a lot of this story that I feel could have been expanded upon. Maybe we would have gotten more of the character development on the hero side and on the villain side, but a huge negative in regards to this movie is not the fault of the directors or the actors or all the people involved in bringing Justice League to the big screen. The people who are to blame here are the executives. Warner Brothers is doing some horrible things when it comes to their movie production. Not to mention the fact that they forced Zack Snyder to remove 30 crucial minutes of his Batman v Superman to make it a very confusing film, and at the same time cause it to basically be thrown in the trash in a dumpster fire, what have you. But when the ultimate cut comes out and you see those extra scenes inserted, it all makes sense, and it really is a fantastic film. Warner Brothers now wants all of their films to be 2 hours long and nothing more. That really hurts a director's, screenwriter's, what have you, vision. Because all these executives want to do is they want to just get the people in the seats and have them have a good time and make sure that they make as much money as possible. So they are thinking that people who go to see movies don't want to sit in a movie theater for 3 hours. They don't want to watch an entire story come together. They just want to get their kicks and get out. I think that that is degrading. I think that that is demeaning. And if this is going to be the direction that Warner Brothers is going in as a whole, they're going to lose a ton of money. People are going to realize that they're doing stupid things, and more people are just gonna stop going to their movies. And quite frankly, if that's gonna be the case, then let's just say that I'm thrilled about that. But now that even makes me more nervous for what's going on with the Harry Potter films, the Fantastic Beasts movies. If they're only gonna make them 2 hours long, I feel that we're gonna just be leaving those theaters unfulfilled, and we're gonna be just saying, these are okay movies, these are not great movies. That is a horrible, horrible thing to happen. Warner Brothers, you've been screwing up enough for the last couple of years. It is time to stop, and it is time to give the true film fans what they want. Stop doing things that you want, because that is not what truly makes you a successful film company. And the other big blow to Justice League and the DCEU as a whole is the fact that not only is the film company going in that horrible direction, they also feel that the only way for them to be successful is to be just like their competition. This movie felt very much like a Marvel film, a very underused villain, a rush to get everything together, a lot more jokes rather than drama. Now granted, the drama does outweigh the comedy in this movie, and that's one of the few things that I am so happy that happened. It really felt to me like watching an episode of the animated series of Justice League. Lighthearted, but definitely heavy-hitting. But the fact that they're trying to be like Marvel films is a horrible, horrible, horrible idea, and I cannot stress that enough. I didn't care much for Guardians of the Galaxy or Thor Ragnarok this year. While they were definitely enjoyable movies when it comes to depth, when it comes to drama, when it comes to the elements that truly make a memorable and fantastic film, those Marvel movies didn't have them. I didn't mention Spider-Man Homecoming because I think that the elements that make these current Marvel movies, it made sense to make them in a Spider-Man movie. And if this is going to be the direction that the DCEU is going to go in, it's a recipe for disaster, because it's just going to get roped into all of those average comic book movies that the fans are suddenly realizing are not so great, and they're not going to be those great movies that people wanted. They don't want these DC movies to be like Marvel. They want them to be their own animal. And a movie like Batman v Superman and Wonder Woman and Suicide Squad and Man of Steel, they definitely weren't like Marvel movies, and they were very, very good. I really feel that they were all fun. Say what you will. Call me crazy if you think that Suicide Squad was not a good movie. I personally had a fun time with that movie. While it wasn't extremely deep, it did have some very good thematic elements that made it so different from all the DC films. I did have a good time with Justice League. I did think that it was a good movie, minus all the problems. I am going to be excited to watch this movie again. I do want to get this movie on Blu-ray or DVD, especially if there's going to be an ultimate cut. I want that ultimate cut because in Snyder I still do trust. And of course, thanks to Joss Whedon, we did get 2 post-credit scenes, one in the middle and one at the end. And let me just say, that end credit scene couldn't have made me all the more excited. It was something that I didn't see coming. It is something that I think DC fans are so excited for, and I feel because of that, we're gonna get some very anticipated DC movies. I am excited for Aquaman. I think it's gonna be great. I'm excited for the sequel to Wonder Woman. Heck, I am excited for the sequel to Suicide Squad, and I don't know when The Batman, directed by Matt Reeves, is coming out, or when the sequel to Man of Steel is coming out, but I feel that these movies are going to play pivotal roles in what Justice League 2 is going to be. And I just hope that DC realizes what they're doing, listens to the fans, and tries to correct the mistakes that they've already had. And let's make sure that the DCEU remains that unique, non-Marvel-like film universe. Whew! Wow, I had a lot to say. I really did not expect this review to be that long, so I'm hoping that you all stuck around and watched this review. I'm gonna be giving Justice League a 3 stars out of 4. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. Put your comments in the box below. I'm looking forward to having a discussion with you about Justice League or any DC movie in general. But in the meantime, I will see you in the next one. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.